Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe Class Arcee. Arcee is the second to last figure to be released in the McAdam Build-A-Figure assortment. For whatever reason, they decided to take this wave and stagger it over the course of many months. So Arcee is being released by herself with a bunch of repacks, and then sometime later this year we'll get Deluxe Class Thunderhowl to finish off the set, finish off McAdam. So this is the first figure that we get for the Cyberverse incarnation of Arcee, and it's done up very much in that kind of hyper stylized fashion. The reception on this toy so far has been pretty positive. It looks to be one of the better deluxe toys out there. Well, for Cyberverse anyway. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging. We're going to open it up, see the instructions, take a quick look at the Build-A-Figure pieces, and then we'll see Arcee herself in both her vehicle and robot modes. Do a few group shots with other versions of Arcee as I'm going along and doing this. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Arcee is done up in the same type of packaging that the other deluxes are. Forgive the cut on my hand, my cat got startled while I was holding her. So that red and purple, which is honestly a weird mix of colors. Got old Bumblebee right there, front and center. Oh man, look at all the Bumblebee, so much bee. It just thrills me. Anyway, you see the figure right in the middle. You see your fire blast effects, little gun, and then the McAdam pieces, which I think, it's his weapon and the two upper arms, so that leaves only his head, which will be included with Thunderhowl to complete that figure. Turn to the side. There's a little CGI render of McAdam. On the back, you get your renders of Arcee, and we got her name up here. Her function is Skillful Sharpshooter, which works out pretty well considering the type of weapon she's packing. She's using dual energon lasers with a Z. Because when you add Z to things, they're cool, like Limp Bizkit. Right here you have the full assortment for the McAdam wave. There's Thunderhowl at the end. And then on this side, just have your standard Autobot side panel. Here are the instructions for Arcee. You see the front here.
Hi guys.
Well, my little man has decided to join us because he really likes Arcee. All right, and this is the transformation from robot to vehicle mode, which continues along the back. This shows you how her fire blast effects work. Shows you how to store them along with her weapon in vehicle mode. So that is cool. Here are the McAdam pieces. Right here you have the shoulders, which are painted a little bit right there. Got like some silver paint on it, which is hardly noticeable from the gray plastic, but it's there. And then you have his weapon, his little mace-like weapon. I gotta say, this thing, it's like a toothpick. It's so light, which is disappointing because you'd expect a big old Warhammer to have a little bit more heft to it.
Look at this thing.
But we know,
Look at this big thing down.
they already saw that.
I want to look again.
All right, he wants to show you this box for Optimus X Prime. So I mean, if you guys have seen my other reviews for the Deluxe Cyberverse toys, you know how I feel about McAdam. I think he's woefully undersized and too simplistic for what's supposed to be this big old Build-A-Figure. But again, it's better than nothing, right? All right, here's Arcee's vehicle mode, and I gotta say, this thing looks pretty great, honestly. It's very compact, very smooth, everything lines up well. Little guy wants to show it off. Isn't that cool, man?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get that back. Show him. Here on the back, you see the fire blast effects being used as some sort of a, exhaust, like she's boosting along. Her little accent here is cast in the same rubbery plastic for obvious safety reasons. This part's obviously hard. The underside is like Shellformer City. You see pretty much all of her on display there, but it's whatever. I don't hold the undersides against these things too much. There's her gun being stored right above her head. And the wheels, Turned very well.
This one, okay?
This one's contacting the hand a little bit, dragging a little bit. Hold on.
This one.
Don't spoil it. It's for the next shot. And she rolls just fine. So I really dig this vehicle mode. It's got lots of paint. The headlights are painted. The grill's painted.
Look, it can open.
It's got the blue trim on the wheels.
Open this
Hold on, buddy. You're gonna spoil it. Okay, here are the two G1 RCs that I personally own. Earthrise isn't available yet for me, so I don't have that one. But on the left, you have the Thrilling 30 RC, which was the first toy that the character ever received outside of the BotCon exclusive, which was a Black Arachnia recolor. Over on the right here, you have Titan's Return RC, which was a pretty limited release, and it's based on her Headmaster version from the final season of the G1 cartoon. Comes with a little Daniel-esque Titan Master. And little guys checking it out. So you can see they're all pretty different looking when it comes to the vehicle mode. Now, this one is the most accurate to her original design. The Titan's Return one is based off of the blur mold, so it's not going to look quite the same. And then this is kind of just a more stylized take on the original. All right, buddy, so what do you think of that car? Do you like it? Yeah, what's your favorite part?
These parts.
The fire parts?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, it's transformation time. So go ahead, remove the blast effects on the side. I take the gun out. This is kind of a pain to get out. I find it's easiest if we kind of get a nail up in this notch and get a finger on there and just kind of pull simultaneously. All right, so let's get that out, set it aside. Then these little back wheel assemblies here, we're gonna untab them. They're gonna swing back on a hinge like so. And a little armature there that just comes out. All right, so then take our arms, just unslot them right there. Kind of let most of her body fall out. Let's unfold her legs, straighten them out, bring her feet down like so. All right. Now this main part right here, I'm gonna swing up, and then this piece here, I'm gonna bring down. Now something I want to point out that's really important to transforming her to vehicle mode. This piece right here has kind of a stopping point right there, but you have to push it in further and be careful because it's all clear plastic. So you want to snap in place like that. If you don't do it, nothing will line up right in vehicle mode and just the whole thing won't work. Something I had to figure out the hard way. So take these bits, fold them up. I'm gonna bring this all the way in. Just kind of hide it up inside of there. And you see this piece here, you want it to swing down like that. And there's a tab right here that's gonna plug into the small of her back. So bring this up, get it all in there. There you go. And this last part, just push the hood down a little bit. Give her more clearance around her head. So here it is. This is the official robot mode. Now, one thing I don't like about this, and you know, this comes purely from having the kibble plugged in like it's supposed to be, she has like very little clearance for her arms. She can't even put them down all the way, which is a pain. Now, you could always just swing this back a little bit if you want to. I mean, you do have the option if you want to like straighten this out more, though it's not official. She's meant to have kind of like almost like an insect thorax sticking off, which I mean, it looks cool. Gives her kind of a insectoid look, which is neat. So you take a little gun, plug it in your hand, take your blast effects, attach them to the end of the gun. And here we go. So this is what Arcee looks like fully transformed. And as far as posability, she uses mostly ball joints. And I want to say her ball joints are very tight. Not so tight that I'm worried about breakage, but I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to flop around at all. Which, Man, I wish they had done that for Megatron, because the Deluxe Megatron is just a floppy mess compared to this. Can't even hold up his own cannon. So they finally got it right. They figured out the tolerances. Her head's on a ball joint, which works quite well. She does have waist swivel, which is really nice. I already mentioned the ball jointed hips. She's got single bend knees that kind of bend at a weird point because her like knee pads don't come with them. She does have thigh swivel. She has some limited ankle rocking, but mostly in a back direction. And then she does have ankle tilt, which is also fairly tight. Takes a good bit of force to get them to pose, but plus side is once you pose them, they're not going anywhere. So you don't have to worry about her sliding down or falling or anything. So here, we have a fully posed Arcee, and she just looks fantastic. Like, she doesn't just look good for a Cyberverse toy, she just looks good as a Transformer, period. You know, even though I'm not crazy about ball joints, when we now have something better and more reliable, her ball joints work very well. Now, over time, you know, with added play, they might loosen up, but right now, as a display piece, as a collectible item, she looks awesome. Here again are Thrilling 30 Arcee and Titans Return Arcee, and you can tell just by looking at them, they're all meant to be the same character, more or less, right? Same base design, but they all have their own unique spin on it. This is, you know, very accurate to the old cartoon, minus maybe the black accents, but if that bothers you, you could always get the Japanese version, which was more cartoon accurate. This one takes a mold that doesn't belong to Arcee, or even a female character at that, and does its best to mimic what she looks like. Now, I know a lot of people decry the Titans Return one because they say it's not very accurate. It's not, but I actually very much like it, just for what it is. The amount of effort that went into retooling it, and the paint and everything, I love that toy. So haters can just keep hating on it. I think it's fantastic. And then here, you just have, again, just a very hyper-stylized take on the G1 design. Uses a lot more pink, you know, swaps out basically white for a lighter shade of pink. But, you know, all the cues are there, the same basic shape is there. Complete with the token backpack. Now in the cartoon, Arcee doesn't really have a giant backpack per se, she has something more akin to this, which is like shoulder pylons. But the reality of designing a toy around her is that she always ends up with a backpack. Even the upcoming Earthrise and Masterpiece versions really suffer from the big backpack syndrome. Which also makes me want to point something out. This new Arcee, she has these very elongated heel spurs, which are almost certainly because of how back heavy she tends to be with all that kibble there. So that was a really good move on their part. And I'm pretty sure the new Earthrise Arcee, she also has something similar to that, where her feet extend back more than, you know, might be aesthetically pleasing, but will make for a much more stable toy. For what this toy is, for it being, you know, the only representation we have of the Cyberverse character, and for being just kind of a new art style take on the classic design, I think she excels phenomenally. And one thing that helps her out when it comes to accuracy is that in the show, her character model, they don't shy away from just giving her a backpack. It's not quite as big as this, you know, they took some artistic liberties to shrink it a bit, but they, instead of trying to hide it, they're just like, she's got a backpack now. So that makes the toy look even better when it's trying to portray a certain character. I absolutely love the tightness in her ball joints. I think that is such an improvement over the earlier Deluxes. And I gotta wonder if maybe she was held back so long so they could like work on the QC. I don't know, maybe I'm giving people too much credit. But there's definitely an improved amount of quality between this toy and the first wave. Now, I don't really like the clearance issue she ends up with her arms. Again, you can skate around that by unplugging the backpack, though if you have to cheat the toy's transformation to make it work, that's not really great design. Maybe they could have had these little bits be a fold-away panel or something from a small hinge so they move out of the way. That would have fixed it right there. Just boom, little hinge right there so that this cable had some give. But I won't, you know, hate on that too much. I very much like this. It is by far my favorite Cyberverse toy. And, you know, if they had started out the line with this level of quality, I would have been so in on that toy line. I mean, this is what somebody who's a collector, or really someone who's older than the age of like 10, really expects. So it is a shame that we haven't been getting toys like this sooner. The good news is that, according to some leaked listings, we are getting at least one more wave of Cyberverse Deluxes, which is weird because the show's basically over now. Most parts of the world anyway. So it's kind of like they're a little late to the party, but I'll take it. I mean, if the Deluxes are as good, or especially if they're better than the first batch we got, especially if they have another Build-A-Figure, I'm curious to see who they're going to come up with for that. Yeah, I'll be all over it, because Cyberverse Deluxes overall are kind of a neat callback to the show-based toy lines of yesteryear. So, having said all that, I think I've firmly established my opinion on this toy. I think it's great. It's got me looking forward to whatever they come out with next. Can't wait to get Thunderhowl in hand, so we can not only complete the assortment, but also finally finish McAdam, and I can show him off for you guys. This toy should hopefully be popping up at Target soon. I got this one from Target's website, so expect to see him in stores. And I think you'll be pretty happy with your purchase. Naturally, that's just how I feel about the toy. Now I want to know what you all think of this new Arcee. Does she push the right buttons for you? Do you think she's good? Do you not like her? Is there something about her? Is she just not G1 enough for you? You don't like the shell forming, you know, whatever it is. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this, honestly, very satisfying look at the new Cyberverse Deluxe Arcee. And with all that said, I will see you next time.